Good day, guys. I'm the mostly wise savage. We're going to continue the word of the day socialism. Right? We ended somewhere after fucking the international got fucking canned. Alright? Despite the decline in the prestige and influence of the Second International, socialist parties made substantial gains in several countries. During the following World War One during the years following World War One. In the United Kingdom, the Labour Party under James Ramsay MacDonald QE was elected to office for the first time in early 1924 and remained in power for 10 months. Good job, brother. 10 whole fucking months. Almost a year. A second Labour government held office under MacDonald from 1929 to 1931. See United Kingdom history. In Australia, the Labour Party was in power from 1929 to 1931 and again in 1941 to 49. See Australia history. In New Zealand, the Labour government, elected in 1935, remained in power until 1949. In Scandinavia, candidates of the Socialist Democratic Parties of Denmark, Norway, and Sweden were elected to a high position in their respective governments early in the 1920s, and these parties subsequently became the dominant political parties of Scandinavia. Another aspect of the history of socialism during the 1920s or early 1930s was the developing conflict between the socialist and communist parties throughout the world. One of the chief points of connection was the question of support of or opposition to the policies of the Soviet Union, declaring that the Soviet leaders had abandoned the ideal of socialism and had instituted the ruthless totalitarian tyranny. The socialists castigated the communists as agents of Russia and traitors to their own countries. Whew. Wow. Right? The rise to power during the 1920s and early 1930s, the fascist regime, see fascism, we will, National Socialism, we will, in Germany and Italy created an unprecedented world situation that caused both socialists and communists to develop new tactical approaches. Attempts were made in several countries to form a united front of all working class organizations opposed to fascism. But the deep seated antagonism between the various factions caused the government to achieve only limited success. The failure of the communists and socialists of Germany to unite is generally regarded as the primary cause of the success of the National Socialists in establishing a fascist dictatorship. Wow, those are some big words. Also, we'll talk about that stuff later. We have to look into that, right? Right? It says look into that stuff. We will look into it, right? One thing at a time. We're looking into socialism, not nationalism yet, not communism yet, not national socialism yet, not none of that. Right? Okay. I do love my politics, right? But I think after socialism, next is Socialist Party. Well, I have to go back to A for a little bit, okay? Dictatorship, right? The temporary alliance between the socialists and communists, which had been formed in some countries, was rent asunder in 1939 when the Soviet Union concluded the non-aggression pact with Germany. The socialists condemned this act as an outright betrayal of the cause of democracy and socialism, demonstrating the basic similarity of community of interest of totalitarian Nazi and Soviet governments. Shortly after the negotiation of the German-Soviet Pact in August 1939, the German armies invaded Poland, precipitating World War II. The socialists in the Allied countries immediately expressed their full support of their respective governments and entered wholeheartedly into the struggle against fascism. So nationalism over fascism? Hell yeah. But we have this socialism word that we're using a lot in here, in the context of socialism. right? And there seem to have been socialists that have tried to work for their people, but usually they get fucked up and do some not so good stuff, right? I consider America as socialist, but I'm a national socialist if I'm American and I like America because we have a lot of socialist programs, right? Society, social society, invest in the roads and the public schools and the military and to health, right? We invest in a lot. Is it all good investments? That's debatable. Not my topic. Actually, I like that topic, but not my topic. And I'm a nationalist because I'm an American. I fucking love America. God bless fucking America. Only place I've ever been. Well, I was born in another country. I don't remember that though, right? But fucking America has done me well. It's given me a lot of knowledge and a lot of luxuries in my life. I'm blessed for it. They're kind of retards though. The people in charge are kind of stupid, but I love them. I'll love them too, right? My little girl the other day was like, "Hey, can I have a?" I was brushing her hair, and I was like, "I'll put it in a ponytail." And she's like, "Can I have a braid?" And I'm like, "I can't do that. My hands are stupid. They just are. They can't do the braid, sweetheart. I'm sorry." And she's like, "Okay, that's okay. I'll just love them better." Okay, but that's not gonna fix it. Anyways, we are back in socialism now. Now that my little story's over. Right, German fact, blah blah blah. The year 1945 witnessed both the victory of the United Nations over Germany and Japan and tremendous upsurge in the popular support of the socialist parties, particularly in the nations of Western Europe. The greatest socialist advance was scored in Great Britain, where the Labour Party was swept into office on the basis of a program calling for the socialisation of the British economy. See United Kingdom history. Right? We will. That's somewhere in this stupid book. Right? Blah blah blah. History and ensuing years, socialists won control of the governments of, or were elected important government posts in France, Italy, Belgium, Holland, Norway, Sweden, and numerous other European countries. In Asia, the nationalist leader Jawaharlal Nehru, QB, we'll find him later, elected Prime Minister of the newly established Dominion government of India in 1947, was in some measure an advocate of moderate socialist views. In Eastern Europe, communist parties and the Soviet satellite states absorbed the socialist parties of these countries, frequently against opposition of socialists. The governments of Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, Romania, and Albania came under the control of these communist socialist parties. Dominated in all cases by communists, the Socialist Party of the United States, led by Norman Thomas, QE, we'll find that guy, actively espoused policies similar to those of British Labour Party and the Western European Socialists. But its influence had been greatly diminished as a result of the adoption of several basic portions of its programs by Franklin D. Roosevelt. That motherfucker, we'll find him later too. He doesn't even have a QB on this. During his long tenure as president, see New Deal. Okay, we'll find the New Deal. Although I've heard about the New Deal. Fucking, we're on that. It's 2021, but we'll look at the old New Deal. The oldest New Deal that this is going to talk about. Well, that's not true. Whereas in the presidential election of 1932, the U.S. Socialist Party received about 900,000 votes. In 1948, its votes totaled only about 140,000. Ouch. That took a fucking heat. The period following the conclusion of World War II was also marked by the renewal of intensification of the conflict between socialists of Western Europe and the United States and the communists. Yeah, the Cold War and all that bullshit. Yeah, I remember that. No, I don't. The socialists supported such measures. Although I went to Dallas and I saw where fucking. Wait, that didn't happen in this book yet. Oh, fuck. I even stood on the X where the dude was. It was a cool event. Some guy brought me there. He was a nice guy. Um, Anyways, I hope he's doing well. What a savage. Hell yeah. Anyways, such measures initiated the United States, blah blah blah, as a European Recovery Program of the North Atlantic Treaty (QQB). We'll find that later, declaring that the former would stem the tide of the totalitarian communism by raising the living standards of Western Europe, and that the latter would achieve the same end by strengthening Western Europe militarily. In opposing these Eastern Europe militarily, in opposing these measures, the communists described them as instruments of imperialism and as preparations for war against the Soviet Union. A trend interpreted by many observers as highly significant for the future of socialism was exemplified by the results of general elections held in New Zealand and Australia late in 1949. The Labour parties of both of these countries, which had been in power since 1935 and 41 respectively, were voted out of office, and opposition parties favoring a relaxation of socialized control of industry and trade were placed in control of governments. To many political scientists, these elections seem to indicate the development of a popular rejection of statism in favor of free enterprise and individual initiative. The general position adopted by the socialists after World War II may be described as following: condemning both the capitalist and the socialist system as incompatible with the ideals of true democracy. The socialists based their policies on the belief that the economic security promised by the socialist system must not be achieved at the cost of political freedom for the individual. Alright, so did we learn something today, guys? Fucking Christ. Right, and man, I hope someone besides me, I didn't fucking learn nothing new, right? I've had this book for a long time. I've read a couple of them, right? I'm only at page 7,838 of this book. It's not that big. Right, you should have saw my life. 4 pages. Like your mama's legs. Anyways, y'all have a good one. This was fun. Alright, I hope you learned about fucking socialism. You Ingrid. Have a good one.